Now, this is where the difference between career and job begins. A job is for survival. So, don't survive, live your life. Live is the career. So, at times you may have to strike a balance between a job and a career. That is absolutely fine. But make sure that you are living your life, not surviving the life by doing some job.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third episode of Anvikshiki. Today we have another guest with us, another famous personality well known in the IT industry, and also have ventured into a new area. But before we start getting into the details of today's session, let me first of all call Vaibhav to be here and present him a gratitude from our side as a token of gratitude. So, Vaibhav, if you can please come here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vaibhav, for your time. Before I even start, let me share with our viewers that this is the first time, at least, because the frequency of this is just that we are doing the third episode in the last 4 months now, and the earlier episodes were more like I was trying to, or we were trying to reach out to the people, requesting them to be part of it, and I felt very good when you called me a couple of days back and asked that when we can do Anvikshiki with you. So it was a moment of honor for me as well that you felt that there is something good happening here and you would like to be part of it. So first of all, thank you for that. And as part of our tradition of Anvikshiki, I again have written something as a poetry. Let me share that with you, everyone, and from there on, we'll set the pace of the Anvikshiki as well.
Sure, Kapil.
So, as I write in Hindi, except the previous episode where we had Vulgarian flags and I have to write in English. So, couple of lines only, and Vaibhav generally try to write in the morning hours. So, I don't have a habit of staying very late in the evening. I cannot do that even if I try. So, the maximum range I can go for is 1 or 2, and that I also have tried only a couple of times. So I generally prefer that I can go to sleep for at least 1 or 2 hours and then I can wake up at even 2:30. So for me, having a gap in between my current day and next day is like some sleep required. The same I did for today's poetry as well. So I woke up somewhere around 3:30, and then I took the pen and generally a blank paper I take, and then I start thinking that what I should be writing and how I should be writing. So at that moment I felt that there is a very specific moment that is about to start, maybe in another hour or so, because I was that the time was around 3:20. So by 4:30, as per our history and tradition, the Brahm Muhurat starts. And as per our historical references, that is the best time to create anything new. So from a creation perspective, that's the best time. So that is how I started my poetry as well. So the poetry goes like this. The next couple of lines are going to be in Hindi now. ब्रह्म मुहूर्त का है हो रहा समा, पूछ रहा है मेरा मन खुद से ही के क्या कर पाएगा आज फिर से तू इसमें वो जिसके लिए है ये इतना अलौकिक बना. So I was inquiring from myself that during this time of Brahm Muhurat, would I be able to create something new? Sorry, I have some throat.
No problem.
And I think today's podcast is gonna go like this. So apologies to my viewers already. There is some throat infection. So I'll repeat it again. ब्रह्म मुहूर्त का है ये हो रहा समा, पूछ रहा है मेरा मन खुद से ही के क्या कर पाएगा आज फिर से तू इसमें वो जिसके लिए है ये इतना अलौकिक बना. So this is the question that I asked, and then I started exploring that what I actually want to explore or create at this moment. So there were some things which were coming to my mind, and the first thing that came to my mind is that धूल की गहरी चादर सी है बिछ रही सृष्टि के अटल सत्य को दिखाने वाले संज्ञानों पे. I feel that we are having very rich history, but over the time have started putting dust on top of it, and we have started making a distance from that. So that is the first thought that came to my mind कि धूल की गहरी चादर सी है बिछ रही सृष्टि के अटल सत्य को दिखाने वाले संज्ञानों पे, हल्की हल्की सी है अब भी पड़ रही ध्वनि पंचजन्य और गांडीव की कानों में. आई एम नॉट श्योर इफ एवरीवन नोज पंचजन्य. आई थिंक आपको तो बहुत बेहतर से पता है. पंचजन्य इज द शंख दैट लॉर्ड कृष्णा used to have, and he used to use it, the conch, the English term is conch. And Gandiv is the bow that was with Arjuna, right? So the next context which I wanted to add here is that हल्की हल्की सी है अब भी पड़ रही ध्वनि पंचजन्य और गांडीव की कानों में. एंड नेक्स्ट was महक तो आज भी आती ही होगी रक्त से सने मिट्टी के कणों से जो बिखरे पड़े हैं सदियों से कुरुक्षेत्र के बचे हुए मैदानों में. आई पर्सनली फील दैट कुरुक्षेत्र इज दैट बैटल ग्राउंड वेयर द ट्रुथ वाज टेस्टिफाइड एंड इट इज़ इन द सॉइल इटसेल्फ. बट यहाँ पे व्हेन आई सेड कि बचे हुए मैदान, दैट वाज अ डेलिब्रेट वर्ड बिकॉज over the time the Kurukshetra is not the same. The industrialization have took over. The land that you want to go and witness there might not be even available. So that was the third thought. महक तो आज भी आती ही होगी रक्त से सने मिट्टी के कणों से जो बिखरे पड़े हैं सदियों से कुरुक्षेत्र के बचे हुए मैदानों में. And then the next moment when I was thinking about it, and this entire thought process is happening in a time frame of 1 year, 1 month, 1 hour. So somewhere around 3:45 we started writing. The entire time that was taken for me to write this was around 1.5 to 2 hours. So around 5:15, 5:20 I closed the writing. But the next thought that I wrote is something which I started thinking. शायद मैंने आपसे भी पूछा है जब आप पिछली बार यहाँ पे आए थे, that I have a 2.5-year-old son and he's staying with us, with me and my wife here. And I sometimes feel that whether I and my wife are going to be able to give him the right awareness and understanding that is required for him to be feeling proud about the Indian richness. Because everything else he's going to learn from outside, but these are the things that he need to learn from home. I feel it would have gone way better if he would have stayed at my hometown. He would have stayed with his grandparents, but now he is here. So the next question I wanted to connect with this, that मन विचलित सा है होने लगता सोच सोच के कि कैसे जिंदा रख पाऊंगा मैं इतना विशाल अद्भुत और प्रकाशमान इतिहास आने वाली पीढ़ी के ख्यालों में. So at one side we have Mahabharat and there is other rich history that we carry. There is reference of Kurukshetra, there is a reference of Gandiv, there is a reference of the richness of our history. But then are we capable enough at this stage right now that we can transition it to the next generation? That was what was kind of making me a bit unstable when I was thinking around it, Vaibhav, because I think the way the Vedas were transitioned over the ages just by letting people remember all of that, I do not have that kind of capability that I can do that for my son. So that is what the last question was. But then I'm just trying to ask from myself, because sometimes I feel like I use a lot of references from Bhagavad Gita, from Vedas and Puranas, but the reality is this, what I'm stating right now for myself. कहने और बताने मात्र का ही है तेरा भी एक कपिल, ये कहना कि कितनी गहराई से लिखा गया है जीवन का सत्य वेदों उपनिषद और पुराणों में. We use all of this as per our comfort. I personally feel for that for myself. If someone asks me that do you really have the real deep understanding of any of the subject, I don't have. But then if I don't have the deep understanding, how I can be sure that I can transition that to my next generation. So when I was inquiring about this, and to be honest, the entire Anvikshiki means the science of inquiry. So I was finding the answer, and the answer came like this, that if I have to really do that, तो रखना होगा तुझे, which means मुझे रखना होगा तुझे खुद को और नई पीढ़ी को भी वैभव केलकर जैसे महानुभावों के पास. एंड लास्ट थिंग इज जिनके जीवन में रहता है हर वक्त माधव सृष्टि और महाभारत सृष्टि को बनाने का प्रयास. एंड we'll see why I brought these two pointers here, Madhavsrushti and Mahabharat. I think there is something very interesting happening.
Yeah.
But before I go further into the session, any quick reaction from your side, Vaibhav, around this? I know the throat is not going well along, but still a quick reaction from your side.
First of all, your poetry is good. See, generally there are two types of poetries. One is with some intention. So there is some external force which is demanding some lines to be written, and other part is when something comes from within. So I
Yeah.
think yours one is the latter one.
Okay. Thank you.
Something is coming from within, and that is the best. So more than words, it is more than what I would look for is a meaning or the intention. You mentioned about a lot of things are touched in this poetries, like history. Then there is a career. What is the relation between them? And ultimately, it's our wish that the entire generation, and specifically the first relation generation, is how can we give our best to them. So I think uh, overall poetry is really good, and it is demanding lot of questions and to be answered. So many a times you read a poetry and then, I mean, you just clap, it's good, words are good. But some poetries like this, and in fact Mahabharat is another poetry in
Yeah.
itself, which ask you to think, ponder, and then act on it.
Yeah.
So that's why those poetries will last long,
Correct.
be it Ramayana, be it Mahabharat, or there are many such poetries which are meaningful, and like they are mostly in line of Anvikshiki, wherein you have to build a science of inquiring yourself.
Correct.
So we will eventually, I think, we will touch upon
Absolutely.
everything,
Absolutely.
but it was a good poetry.
And I hope you're fine that the next first generation of mine will come to you and will
Sure,
request for
sure.
the guidance.
Why only
So
yours? I
I'm
mean, we
asking it
need.
in live format, right? So that there's a proof available, and then you cannot
Yeah,
deny in the future, right? So
yeah.
okay, good. So fine. Let me formally get into the introduction part. So in front of me today, the dignitary that we have is Vaibhav Kelkar. So Vaibhav brings with him more than 2 decades of overall experience in terms of the journey that he had in the technology world. Along with that, he have also very interestingly started a journey which is around circular economy, which we'll try to understand from him that what was the inspiration and thought behind that. But today's Anvikshiki journey is not going to be around the technology, so we are going to stay a bit away from the technology part, and it's going to be more around the generic awareness and the thoughts which Vaibhav carries with him. There are going to be following sessions where we are going to touch on those areas as well. So this is just the first that we are doing with Vaibhav, but there are going to be further subsequent one coming as well. But for me, I see Vaibhav as a person who is very easy to tag along. Just a quick reference from the last visit when Vaibhav was here. So I went along with him for tea 2 times. So I got tea free 2 times last time, and there was an additional benefit that I got with that. That in the second visit when I was there with Vaibhav, he was meeting one of his old friends, Sachin,
Yeah.
and this person is already a settled person, have spent 20 plus years in US, and now have came back to India and trying to explore the world from a new perspective in India. And I was really surprised to know that generally people do it other way around. People try to go from here and then settle there, but he went there, explored something, and came back, and now he's trying to do something on his own. So for me, that was an additional benefit, when I was standing with you, and I never felt, that along with two very senior personalities, I am someone who is very junior. So I never felt that. In fact, I enjoyed that free tea. So I would love to have more those tea opportunities coming my way, Vaibhav. But just to give you the context of the entire Anvikshiki session today, we're going to cover it in 3 parts. Every part is going to be having approximately 13 to 15 minutes of time. The last segment is going to be for our audience to ask the questions as well. So the first segment we are going to talk about the mindset or the core thought process of career, from again the reference that we can bring from our Indian literature or history. And the second part is going to be for our audience to know that what exactly you're doing as part of Madhavsrushti, because that is something which is going to be very exciting for people to know. And the third part is going to be that I'll be requesting you to share some unique journey or episode from Mahabharat, so that people can see or hear whatever they are even not aware of, because something of that sort happened with me. And just after sharing this, I'll come to the first question. So I remember in 2019, in my previous organization, or in our previous organization, we were having a team dinner happening, and I was sitting on a table, and I think you came on the table and sat along with me. And from that time, for the next 45 minutes, whatever you shared with me were very, very new for me to hear, because you were bringing a totally new perspective from the context of Mahabharat, and that was actually helping me to understand my current state in the industry with reference to that. Because generally we try to see all of these literature just from a historic point of view, but having that fast forward connection with the current state is something which I got the experience for the very first time. That same experience we want to have brought to our audience as well, so that is going to be the third segment.
Okay.
So that is how this is how it is segmented right now. So we are entering into the first segment now, Vaibhav. So the first question, Vaibhav, is that the current times are very turbulent in terms of specifically when we see post COVID, the dynamics of the economy have been quite up and down,
Hmm.
as well as the entire geopolitical situation that is going around in the Europe or in other areas as well. All those are influencing the way, as an individual, I can see myself in a stable way as part of my career approach. So whenever I wake up every day, if I am an employee, I'm a founder or anyone, I generally have this thought process, that whether I'll be able to sustain or survive in the upcoming times or not. Which means career as a thought is something which is very naturally coming to everyone day in day out now, which ideally should not be the case, because you know um, once you have reached a certain capability level for you, there is definitely something that you can find for yourself. But I know you have very strong views and deep views around it, so I would request you to express them in detail as possible, that how you see the entire career as a thought process in current times.
Okay. So let me start uh, with your question only. You mentioned something about whether I will be able to survive. Now, this is where the difference between career and job begins. A job is for survival. So don't survive, live. Live your life. Live is the career. So at times you may have to strike a balance between a job and a career. That is absolutely fine. But make sure that you are living your life, not surviving the life by doing some job. When I say this, you mentioned about some working hours, spending nights. I have spent lot of nights during my career, not job. I am saying. So and Vaibhav is also aware of that. What I mentioned is live your life. So I never got bored. Nobody, no external pressure was on me to spend nights. It was my own decision to spend nights because something to be achieved, right? So when you spend night, the next day, if you think that no, I wasted my night, somebody forced me, you repent for that for a single minute, then you are not living your life. Okay, you are trying to survive by spending one night, by spending or giving more working hours. You are in a mode of survival. Career means live your life. You should enjoy whatever you did in last night, even if you have to spend more number of hours for your work. So that's the first fundamental
Yeah.
difference I would like to make, that don't just look at the survival is necessary, so job is required, but live your life by building a career. And eventually we will see how the Indian history can help you. There are certain pointers wherein you can take help from our ancient times history, like Rama and Mahabharat and many more. We have real good characters in our history who can inspire you to build a career as well as survival as well. So that's to answer your question.
Yeah.
But when I mention this, I would like to give you two, what I would say, two facts. Okay, so just imagine there is one person who is like a director of a company right from the uh, beginning of his career. Okay, he is the director. He has all the perks. Whatever you demand, the person has it, and he continued to be a owner, a director throughout his life. Okay, this is one. There is a second person who was promised to be made a director of a company. He was eligible, but somehow he was not made a director. He was given a company which was not having any capital. There was no. I mean, it very low profile company, you would call it. Because he was eligible, he built that company. That company flourished well, and it reaches its highs. Then again, look at the destiny. So the other person was asked to leave that company. Okay, and again he was sent back. So he was like, maybe not exactly, but for us it is like he was surviving for 10-12 years, trying to survive. Then again he fought back. But if you look at this struggle, right, this struggle is like you have to spend 10 years, you were denied of some of the opportunities, even if you are eligible. You will, and if I ask you what you will opt for, is the first one, because it is comfortable, right from the beginning of your career you are a director.
Correct.
And that somebody is promising you that throughout your job you will remain as a director. That's the choice. Now I will give you about whom I am talking about. The first one is Duryodhan. Now your views may change. Look at the career graph. He was a director right from the outset. He remained as a director throughout his life till he died. The second one is Yudhishthir. He was promised to be a director. The promise was not kept. He was asked to take care of Indraprastha. It was Khandoprastha earlier,
Yeah.
which was a barren land, right? He, because of his eligibility, he could transform Khandoprastha into Indraprastha, which was, I mean, in terms of competition, it was like better than Hastinapur when he grew it to that level. Again, because of certain things, he was asked to hand over Indraprastha back to Duryodhana.
Correct.
Right? So this first, when I had told you about just a career without names, the first one was lucrative.
Yeah.
Correct? But now if you attach a name to it, Duryodhan and Yudhishthir, we still love Yudhishthir and not Duryodhan. So don't worry about the difficult times. Okay? Something may be concrete, something may be abstract. So like Kapil, you mentioned about the recent past, right? About COVID period. So that is an abstract. We can't imagine today what will happen in future. If you are building a career, that is living your life, you should have your choices with absolute crystal clarity. Most of the times, uh, job, right, survival is driven by external factors, and a career is driven by your internal factors. Now it depends upon your internal factors, how have you molded yourself as a human being, that defines your career. Okay, so in my career, I've worked with a metallurgy company. That's what my basic engineering is. An IT companies, 3 to 4 of them, and also catering to services, product. Uh, I took lots of interviews. Many of and most of the co-workers, colleagues of mine are still working with me. Uh, Not exactly working means in one company, but we have a very good association with each and every one of it. So the way I see is more the journey of them should lead towards the living life. So your start may be surviving for the life, you're looking for a good job, good salary, everything, that is fine. But then it should somewhere in your life should transform into career. Career means not position, remember.
Yeah.
So if you how do you measure that career? If you measure that career in a time frame, probably it's not right. Because if somebody asks what Yudhishthir, let's say, what is your career in the mid of that vanvas of 12 years, it was nothing, because he mostly was rejected or being exiled. So all odds were there in
Yes.
that time span of, let's say, first 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
So don't define your career, don't look at it in a time frame manner. If you are doing something that you love, don't bother about the results of it. That's another thing of
Correct.
again ancient history that tells us is about karma, or what you act, right?
Yes.
And there is a result which is associated with your karma. I will go one step ahead. It is not just karma, it is about the intention behind that karma. And what you get as a result is the fruit of that intention, not per se the karma. Very important. Because if I ask my colleagues to spend 3 nights and work, okay, the karma probably, as Kapil said, may not be right because I am spoiling their 3 days. Correct? What was my intention? Do I want to, show them that I am manager and I am ordering you have to stay 3 nights? The intention is more important. Or if I am trying to teach them in those 3 nights so that they will grow, karma remains the same. I called everybody for 3 nights, but the intention will define the result that I will get. Okay, so it's more than karma. It is the intention behind the karma that will bring you whatever good bad results.
Perfect. I think I'm not sure, if even our viewers have thought of the ancient literature this way, because I remember in our childhood there used to be one TV, black and white, in our entire village, and we used to go there every Sunday to watch, that Dharma production, Mahabharat or Shri Krishna, right? So, but that was more aligned towards the religious aspects. But I believe, there is a very strong fundamental foundation available for all of us to refer, as you have mentioned, to look towards from our ancient literature. I think the four or three anecdotes that I could get from um, your guidance here is that one, I think you're talking about that the career should be more around living as a thought process, and I believe that aligns pretty nicely with our core values of Sarvarth, because we say scaling as a service, evolving as a family, and the core foundation of that is living as a life. So I believe we had the right ingredients engraved or ingrained in our thought process, which I felt really happy when you were talking about it. Second, I think you talked about the love aspect of it, that whether you have the passion or compassion to do that thing, or you're just trying to do that under the influence of anyone. So that is the second key takeaway. And the third is, I think you talked about the enablement versus the use of power aspect, with that when we are asking someone to come along with us, whether they are able to visualize us as someone who is going to be also working along and enabling, or they are just looking us at, from the lens of that this person is using their power, which means, which I believe more shows towards what Duryodhan was representing, as compared to what Yudhishthir and the other Pandavas were representing as part of the Mahabharata. So I'll just extend on top of it, because there is a real-time story that I believe is associated with this, because you talked about also hiring a lot of people as part of your entire journey. So one person that you hired also is the reason for all of us to be here today, right? Thanks to you for that. So we are talking about Vaibhav Patil, right? So he also is the one who got a nice entry, I would say, or opportunity for him to start into a totally new area. He have shared his version of the story with all of us, at least with me. I'm not sure with all of us, but let me hear and also share that with our entire audience, that in January 2006, what exactly happened that actually forced you or influenced you to transition the entire life, maybe which is equal to a career as well, of a teacher into a totally new domain. So a story from your side around that.
Okay. So, first of all, there is no need of thanks to me. I was anyway going to hire somebody if it's not Vaibhav Patil. In fact, it's thank to every selected person. This is what I personally feel, and I'm thankful to Vaibhav. Uh, but see, there is a need, and that's why I interview somebody. So I'm not doing anything favorable or nothing, the credit is not to me, because I have to fulfill certain positions, and that's why I'm interviewing people, right? But why I selected Vaibhav, or not only Vaibhav, I mean many selections happen. Uh, there are multiple factors. One is whether the fitment suits the current requirement or not. So mostly the first tick mark is done, probably the interview process ends there. But this is my habit. I go one more step ahead and try to understand the person. So I think Vaibhav has already tick marked the first one, but the way that interaction happened, right? So his background was from teaching, and then previously we discussed, right? So
Yeah.
teaching was not externally enforced on him. That's what I realized in that discussion. It was his ambition.
Yeah.
So he was living his life. Maybe there are certain odds or whatever, but he could continue with his passion. So there are these factors of Vaibhav which are beyond his technical fitment to the requirement, which I personally believe that I could come to my decision of, you know, working with him. So that's how the entire process went. And one more thing is all about now is, uh, we all are aware history repeats, right? We say this so many times. Same time, I think you all agree. Everybody says that people leave, rather do not leave the company, but they leave their managers. Okay. My question, or I always think it's okay if, as a fresher, uh, you are on the one side, you are on the leaving side, you are, whether you are leaving the company or manager, you are on the one side. After 6, 7, 8, 10 years, you are on the other side. Do you transform yourself
Yeah.
based on your experience, so that nobody should leave you as a manager, right? And uh, this is what we need to work with our teams, that are you going to, allow that history to repeat again? Let's say if I'm an employee, I left my manager, let's say 10 years back. Now, whether I am thinking about myself only and look for another job, or simultaneously I'm working on my abilities, so that after 10 years, nobody should leave me. That should be your parallel journey.
Yeah.
And I think Vaibhav has done that journey really well. And you are all, you have experienced that, right?
Yes.
So that's it.
Yeah, I think first-hand experience with all of us now. Almost 1 year now we are into the journey, and it's going very strong. But Vaibhav, you are bringing some really core queries or inquiries to this entire thought process of recruitment, because as you mentioned, some of the check boxes are predefined. Those are the bare minimum, skill level expectations from anyone who is gonna be
Yeah.
appearing for that role, which is in demand or which is in need right now. But then having that, I'll call it as a human, potential to go beyond that checkbox and further inquire and try to know about that person and explore. Maybe if one of the checkbox is not properly checked, there still can be hope for that person to, get into that checkbox and get it checked by the potential, by the passion that person is bringing on the table. But without having that interaction in place, or that that next level of discussion in place, you can never identify that. So I think this is
Correct.
something that is very core. And the second, I think, pointer that you brought is a good question for all of us to introspect, because most of us are at that stage right now where
Sorry.
we are at the one or the other end. Now, wherever we are right now, let us try to evaluate that what we are actually doing. Are we really, solving that situation for someone, or are we part of the problem right now? Does not matter. Either we are part of the problem or we are the solution. I think we just try to look towards that, that we can change ourselves over time and bring that opportunity to someone.
Yeah.
I think that is what the core fundamental lies here. Thank you. Very nice input, Vaibhav, here. So still we are into that career segment. My final question around that would be, Vaibhav, while exploring your Facebook, Sorry, I did that today in the morning. So I could scroll till 2014 only. The first post which I could see in Facebook was from June 2014, and first three were in Marathi, and then I started seeing some in English. I did not try to convert your Marathi ones into Hindi and understand, but I could see, that you were very actively participating in multiple forums, which have the intention and thought to do something towards the society. So I'm trying to bring the social part of your life that you have invested very significantly. At least it is very visible from that time frame, which I could see from 2014 onwards. So when we look at our career and when we look at this journey that most of us want to have from a social point of view, do you think this investment, and I'm pretty much sure you're still doing that, is actually complementing or further increasing the intensity of your thoughts at the career level? And if you have to really suggest or recommend us, that is it something that we all should be doing or not, or anything that you want to share as part of your experiences that you had at the social level when you were doing all of that work?
Okay. Yeah, there are many. Again, my social career, not, I wouldn't call it as a career, but my social activities started right when I was in college. And in Maharashtra, we celebrate Ganesh festival, right? So I was leading one of the Ganesh festival mandal. And what I saw at that time is it was more about, all every activity was leading towards entertainment, be it dance, be it singing. Whereas, again, look at, the intention of Ganesh Utsav is to get people together with certain cause. And that cause is not just an entertainment. Entertainment is required, but it should have its own, place in the plate. So you don't get the salt uh, completely filled in your plate, right? It has its own place. So entertainment should be like that. But what I saw is it is like salt is becoming rice. So this is where I started changing it, and it is very difficult because to change the mindset of the mandal karyakartas to the recipients, it's difficult. But then I still recollect one experience when, apart from all these events, I invited one fellow and talk about environment. So for a singing event, there were 1,000 members were present, and for this good cause event, I think it was hardly single digit could turn up. So I was really upset. I mean, why this difference? If you are getting two options, one is entertainment and one is a good cause, you should be there at both the ends, right? Then I talk to internally, externally, to all the people who were part of our area, that if you are not going to entertain good things, then we are going to stop the entertainment. So from next year, I stopped singing everything. Uh, there are so small things that you can think of. Opportunities are immense. It's just how you look at it. So usually when you stand in front of God, you remove your chappal, right? This is the tradition.
Yep.
But actually it was creating a lot of problem because you enter from one end, then exit at other end, you remove your chappals here, then again come back, there are some entrance there. So I internally discussed that this is a festival, right? It is not meant for worship. The purpose is something different, intention is different. Worshipping can happen at home. So I pledged ki let's not ask people to remove the shoes at some place. Let them go inside. If they feel that it has to be removed, they will remove, take the darshan and again go back. So there are such small things I was contemplating when I started my social activities. Then, as I mentioned, I was a student of one of the good engineering colleges. But again, that parallel thought was there that if I'm doing something that I like, the answer was unfortunately no.
Yep.
I did my engineering for the sake of survival, to be very honest. Of course, we are not, at the age of 17, you are not that mature to think all these things, but then it is a continuous, we call it a continuous development, continuous testing. So it is a continuous improvement that should happen in your life. At the final year, I almost made up my mind that I will not marry, and I looked for so many NGOs. I at least searched more than 50 NGOs that suits what I want to work with. I found one NGO which is around 70 kilometers from Pune, and that name itself, like I'm fond of this name, Anvikshiki. That name of the NGO that I worked with is Vijnan Ashram. Now, the Vijnan stands for all the scientificness in your life. Ashram is the way you live your life. So, some of the examples I would like to share. Is
Absolutely.
that okay? So,
Yes, yes.
we used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and our director was 75 years old. So, if somebody is not waking up, he personally used to go there, wake him up, and go for exercise. At 6 o'clock, uh, we are now experiencing the cold in Pune, right? So, the place that I am talking about is colder than Pune. 6 o'clock, we used to get a bath with cold water. So, see, this is how you condition your mind. There will be rough, difficult times, but and then in the evening we used to have dinner together. There was in our home we have so many servants, right, to wash utensils, then those things. It was not there in the NGO. So, sir, my sir that time, he used to stand every day and wash the utensils of everybody who is eating. There were around 50 students. By the way, that particular NGO was working on uh, parallel education system for dropout students, with a belief that these students do not fit in the current education system. That doesn't mean they don't have any other things to do in life. So that this was about parallel education system. So a man who was research and head of Hindustan Liver, he was a technical advisor to the planning commission. Why I'm telling this, you should focus on this. He is a research head of Hindustan Liver, advisor to the Planning Commission of India. With such career, what he was doing at 8 o'clock in the evening is he used to, wash utensils of the students, dropout students. Now, this reduces your ego. I mean, wherever you, whatever achievements you have done, when you see these things somebody is doing, is like it changes your mind like anything. And I've seen that. I'm really fortunate to be part of Vijnan Ashram. Lot of things I could see, learn there. One of the thing that we were working on, giving, this was back in 2000. We were giving the WLL, that is wireless in local loop, for the farmers, with the help of IIT Chennai professors. The project went successful, and for the inauguration, it was the Chief Minister of Maharashtra that time who was going to be going to inaugurate this. So Dr. Kalbag, who was our director and sir, so he asked me that you will lead the show. I was just hardly maybe 19, 20 years old, and I was afraid that how can I confront a chief minister, and it was like he told me today, and I have to confront this. Inauguration was day after tomorrow, so I was really afraid. And sir told me, see, we are doing for a cause, right? So you are not asking any some favor for yourself. Don't be afraid. I'm there behind. He is also a human being. You are a human being. Don't look at he is a chief minister or something. So that is the confidence that he gave me in my life. So now also, when for my social causes, when I have to meet so-called bigger personas, I never felt like how can I go and meet him, because I'm not going for myself. If I have to go to somebody and demand that I need this home or I need this favor, then probably yes, why he would. But if you have a good cause, then you need not to carry any fear, because you are not doing it for yourself.
Yeah. Very nice. I think we all would have felt very encouraged from the stories. And there are so many others that are not yet
There's a
told to
lot of
everyone.
many.
We'll have a further, I think, dialogue around that. But really happy to hear all of this, Weber, because I believe what you're bringing as a thought is that when there's a purpose attached to what you're doing, and especially when that purpose is not for your own benefit, you should not be feeling afraid, and you can go ahead and get that done. And I believe the way the sir was encouraging you at that age is something that is critical for all of us to also follow, because at one or the other point of time, as human beings, we are living in a society, we are living at our home, we are living in our area, we are coming to the office as well. So we are meeting with people. It's very difficult to have that element of encouragement brought, because most of the times we are in the other side of the thread. Rather than encouraging, we are most of the time discouraging. I think it's a very good trait to learn as part of the stories that you mentioned. But just on a funny note, then what changed your mind to get married?
No, it's not funny. I
Okay.
mean, I'm thankful to him again. So he was 75 years old that time, and I was less than 20. So one night we used to have a very good discussion with him almost every day. So one night I asked him that, sir, I'm really feeling proud that I'm working with you. He was having a bungalow at Juhu, which is one of the very premium area in Mumbai. So you left that so-called life and you came here. So he told me that, see, it is the your window of looking at what I am doing, but since I love it, I don't feel that I've done something great. I mean, leaving a bungalow and coming here was nothing for him. For us, it is like he has left a bungalow, a premium area, and came to a village. This is our way of looking at it. Then when I asked him that I want to continue this work and don't want to get married, he was angry on me, honestly. He said, if you feel that by doing this you are doing good work, that's not the case. Because you are actually denying to take any responsibility of that comes with a marriage. And then whatever you do, since you don't have any responsibility, right, it has no value. What brings value is you take that responsibility of getting married and still continue to work like this. That is the best thing. So that's what I mean. That discussion was really long, but in a cut short,
No, I think it's
that was
good.
the message.
I think at least it's a good encouragement for some of our own colleagues as well, right? Rakshita, for you as well, right? So, no, thank you for sharing and thanks for comfortably sharing it. Uh, so, we'll move into the next segment, Vaibhav, now, which is
Yeah.
around Madhavsrushti. Um I would personally love to know, the entire thought process that triggered you to really think of it first, right? Because I was checking the name itself, from multiple angles, from the context of philosophy, from the context of our ancient literature. And Madhav in itself is a very strong word, if we try to see or project it from that perspective. And now along with that you have added Srishti as well. So first of all, I was very uh, impressed by the name itself, because it brings that kind of gravity with it, because we're talking about a complete Srishti, which in itself, means the entire world. And here we're talking about a world that is also having Madhav as part of it. So, from your own lens, for our viewers as well, if you can share what couple of questions. Question number one is that what was the entire thought process and inspiration with you to have this journey started? And some question number two, some insights that are really right now happening as part of this entire Madhav Srishti journey, and where you see it is going in the next 10-year time frame. So just a couple of questions if you can answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nothing has happened haphazardly. I mean, Madhavsrushti is like just an outcome. But as I just mentioned, that if you get married and still continue to work, that's what I continued. So the thought process was there in my mind since I left the NGO. I was looking for some area where I can really contribute. So in Vijnan Ashram, in the NGO, I learned so many rural angles which I was really not aware of because I grew in Mumbai, right? So I first time I learned or I was like party to a gotha, a cow farm, farming. So everything I could learn there. Then somewhere I don't exactly remember, but somewhere I learned about the benefits of Indian desi cows. It's not about just Indianness. What I'm trying to bring forward, the point I'm trying to bring forward is the cow which is having a hump, right? What are the advantages of it as against the cows which are not having a hump, and they are called HF or Jersey cows. Nothing against an animal, honestly, but there are pros and cons, right? So I decided to work on this because I also realized that even if it has a good value, because of certain cons, farmers are not ready to have Indian desi cows at their farm. So everybody was going behind the other cows
Jersey cows.
without harm,
Yeah,
Jersey
same
cows or
thing.
HF. Again, this is initially we discussed, right? This is an external factor that was forcing them to go for it and not to go for cows with hump. So then I decided to do something about this, and that's how we started our own desi cow farm. We started with 3 cows. uh, but how do you prove a point that this still has a value against the odds? So that's the entire thought process of Madhavsrushti. So then I realized that this model fails because uh, mostly when you say cow, the first thing that you relate is milk. So if till the time that relation is there, then Indian desi cows has a lot of apparent cons, I would say. And Jersey or HF cows have a lot of advantages. Again, uh, this is not entire truth, but still, this is what appears. So we decided to break this relationship, and then we did a lot of research. My partners in this Madhavsrushti, they are actually working on this formulation. All the formulation that we made to make the cow farm, Indian desi cow farm, sustainable is to break the milk economy. So we build a lot of products, around 20 of them right now. The ingredients that goes in these products, predominantly they are fence crops. Why fence crops? Is because the farmers can grow them even if it is raining or it doesn't rain, right? It's easier to grow fence crop against others. So fence crop, again, this is the first criteria. Second criteria, if that fence crop is a good fodder for cows, if even if that is tick mark, that is 2 levels. Third level, after this selection, if that crop is some way or the other helping human, either you can consume some of the parts of that crop, or it can help you in skincare or other products that we are going to make. So that's the entire thought process that we did a lot of research, and we came out with a list of ingredients and formulations for our tentative products. Uh, this is kind of a circular economy now between the Indian desi cows, the farmers, and the human being. So that's where we
Yep.
are working. Since it is like a cow farm, the first thing that comes to our mind based on our Indian culture is Lord Sri Krishna. So Krishna's, one of the name of Krishna is Madhav, and that's how it is named as Madhavsrushti. Our under Madhavsrushti we have many brands, and that story is also quite interesting because I think we are talking about the career, right? So
Yep.
there are a lot of aspects of career. Even smallest thing you have to apply your thoughts. So when we were deciding the brand names, since it is Lord Krishna, I mentioned he used to live in his early days at Vrindavan, which is called Vrajavasi, Vraja. So we picked up that name of Vraja, And then our products, they are catering to different sections. So whatever you apply on your body, that is anga in Indian language. So we just concatenate these strings, and that brand became Vraja Anga, that is Vrajanga. Whatever you eat, right, that is Anna. So again, the concatenation happens to be Vraja Anna, that is Vrajanna. So that's how we have a thoughtful naming behind our brands. There are few more, but I think in interest of time, it is like Vraja and the application. That's how we build our different brands.
Very nice. I think amazing story to hear, and I was aware of it in bits and parts, but now I think the complete perspective of it is clear. And I was recalling something very profoundly when you were talking about this, the context of Indian Desi guy versus the Jersey cow, because I remember when I was in fifth or sixth standard, that is when we got our first cow in the home, and as a child was very happy because there was a small kid along with that as well. That was my age, right? So I could play along with it. But there was a Jersey cow, and the intention, I believe, from my father's side during that time would also have been that the Jersey cow gives more milk, which is seen as the direct benefit from having the cow. But I'm realizing it now that maybe only couple of people were there in our village who were having Jersey cows. Majority population were having the Desi cows. And now when I see almost like fast forward to today, and I'm talking about when I was at 5-6 year old of age, it have reversed.
Yeah.
I think it is also part of the comfort in terms of I think the way Jersey cows are are managed from a day-to-day perspective. I'm not completely sure about the truth, but there are definitely certain external factors which are influencing towards it. But now at least I have a story when next time I'm going back to home, which is just this week itself, to talk with some of those people who are still thinking of having this reversal done or not done. I think there'll be a nice pointer available with me to talk with them. So thanks for that input. And since you also again started with the transition from your social to your married life to the Madhavsrushti now, I was seeing a photographs which you have very proudly posted in I think August 2015 when your son was born, right? So I believe all of the things have been happening very nice after that input from sir, right? So which is again a good thing. But I see that there is a lot of sustainability aspect that you are talking about here in terms of the circular economy, and the products that you have also talked about are also bringing that perspective of being more organic and less chemical heavy, right? Because that is what is seen as a major thought area by many people right now. Anything that you would like to show to the
Definitely.
audience
So
as part of it?
yeah, actually, when we started this journey, and typically when we talk about ultimately sustainability, right? Sustainability happens with some ROI. So which is one of the factor, but important factor. So fortunately, we really received very good response because of the product, stands for themselves. That's the good thing. And I talked about the advantages to Jersey or HF cows. I think it's important to talk about the advantage of desi cows as well. So myself, I am engineer. My partner is a doctor. So we didn't believe on any hearsays, right? So we did almost every scrutiny of all that was mentioned in the history. So I will give you one example that theory says that Indian Desi cow, in its hump, there is something called as Surya Ketu Nadi. Sorry for this, some of the words which I can't translate to English, but there is
And
something.
they're required to be this way only.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
feel
So
free to.
this is they call it as Surya Ketu Nadi. When they stand in sunlight, this Surya Ketu Nadi somehow it generates the gold salts. Now this is the theory. We really can't prove whether how the process happens, but then what we did is from an enable accredited lab, we got our milk ghee tested with certain parameters. One of them was gold, and I mean, it is a proven result now that Indian Desi cow generates golden salts. It is mentioned in the report.
Wow.
It is very in traces. and that's the quantity that human require, right? When you consume the milk of Indian desi cow or a ghee, then you actually consume the golden salts, and those are bioconsumable. I don't know how many of you are aware, but in our ancient India, uh, we used to give some golden ornaments, and a newly born baby used to,
Yes. We still do that in our village.
you do that,
Yeah,
right?
we do that.
So this is actually a natural, better form of giving gold to the
Yes.
human beings. So that's where your Anvikshiki helps. The science of inquiry will actually let you know that whatever is there in the history, what is to be removed, what is to be carried forward.
Yeah.
So that's what we did, and that's one of the advantage. I was speaking about the responses. It is not only about the individual buyers, but I'm really thankful to some of the personalities in government as well, who really helped us like anything. One of them is the MP in Pune only. She is Medha Kulkarni. Uh, Another one is Dr. Vinay Sahasrabuddhe, very close with Narendra Modi and Amit Shah. So again, as I mentioned, I went and meet him. I was not knowing what will happen, but then the way he responded, because I had a good cause in mind, right? So uh, we celebrated Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav 2 years back, and he told me that give me something which can be presented to foreign delegates. So then we came up with something like this. I don't know whether camera can capture this, but this is, if you can see, this is Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and the way we designed is there is some history again behind this. Amrut came from Samudra Manthan. Okay, so lot of things were like mixed together, and then Amrut came out. So what we did, all the initiatives of government of India, right from our independence, that is 1947, we have mentioned all of them, be it Make in India, Swachh Bharat, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. So all of them are like being, churned, and then the outcome of all this churning is Amrut Rupi Bharat. So this was the concept, and then there is a typical good packaging is always required. So we made this kind of packaging. It was gifted to foreign delegates, and from there on we started our export, because the product they stood for its quality, and now we are exporting these products to Australia, Canada, and Central America. So that's the kind of response that we received.
Very
but
nice.
but it was not like, I mean, these things happen when you are religiously following, believing your deep thought, then results definitely come. That's what I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, you have seen and you're proving it for us, right?
Yeah.
And to look
and
towards
one
as
more
well.
thing,
Yes.
name to mention, two more rather. They are from Maharashtra government only. So we did gifting for the CM Devendra Fadnavis ji, and one more education minister Deepak Kesarkar ji. So the overall response is amazing.
Perfect. And I think the way it is now getting connected with the thought of India as a value system
Yeah.
is also actually giving it a lot of next step of adoption. That is how I see it, because the entire Madhavsrushti is a name, and the way you're having these elements getting or ingredients getting part of the formation, and then the connection of it with the Indian histories is all playing together. And I keep on seeing your WhatsApp statuses, right? So it's good awareness to have. So Vaibhav, now just looking at the time as well, we'll move to the third segment, which is more around a story. But before that, just as a thought which is coming to my mind from a sustainability perspective, and we can keep the answer short. I think there is another aspect which is Mahabharat Shrishti, which we'll park for our next conversation, because I think it's going to be needing more wider time frame for us to discuss and press on that. But when we look at the current state of India, the way we are progressing as a world economy,
Sorry.
the way we are progressing as the leader in multiple areas right now, initiatives like this, where we are going back to the roots of the villages, because what you are doing is bringing more empowerment to the local aspects which are available to the villagers, which have not seen the light of hope from so many years right now. Do you think people like me who come from small villages can now see towards these aspects as more stronger areas to go back and provide more opportunities there. There might be a lot of people who will be listening to this Anvikshiki session in the future, and they still have not made their mind to migrate from their current places to the cities. What is your suggestion to them?
Uh, See, rather than me suggesting them again, I would request to go back to this session of Anvikshiki for first 10 minutes. It's all about a career and job. So you only have to introspect, find your interest. Don't even go for green sustainability through external factor because it is a buzzing word today. If you really believe that this is what you would like to contribute, then you should, it's a good field.
Yeah.
But if you do it like a job again, probably it's another job for you.
Yeah.
Right? So the answer is
Very nice.
it's what you think.
Yes, I think it
And
makes
for
absolute sense.
thinking, if you need any help to come to a conclusion or decision, we definitely can help you. That why it is important.
Yeah.
Ultimately, decision is yours.
Correct.
Whether you want to do it as a job, I know there are a lot of people might be working in Reliance Energy or green companies still that is a job.
Yeah.
Right? They might not enjoy, although they are working for a good cause. But there are certain people who are doing job not directly in. I am one of them. I am working in a IT company who is probably not directly working towards a green field, but I am enjoying because my career is into that.
Yeah. And thanks for your guidance, just for everyone's awareness as well. I was checking with Vaibhav, that shall I now go back and start a dairy initiative at my village as well? He provided me with the right guidance. So I think that is not the right starting point for me, at least for now. But yeah, as I mentioned to you, Vaibhav, I'm going to explore this avenue this time when I'm going home and see either it's going to be either the organic way of growing uh, the crops or the dairy way of looking at the things. So I'll tell you, if there is something required for me to further have the guidance. So coming towards the final portion of it from our conversation point of view, and then we'll open it for the audience as well. We told to our viewers that Vaibhav will be sharing a unique story about an incident or some perspective from Mahabharat. I think your most favorite is Arjun, right? Which I have at least understood by now. So anything that you want to share with our audience as a story that comes to your mind immediately from Arjun perspective?
There are many stories, uh, but just to let you know, you mentioned about some photo in 2015. So that's where my son was born, and I named him after Arjun. His name is Parth. So that's how I am influenced by that character. So why Arjun? So I mean, when I contemplate about his entire life and character, what I found interesting is he has answer to almost every question that even we have today. Okay, be it a relationship with our families, be it how you educate yourself, uh, be it about emotional intelligence. I will give you some quick examples of each of them. So he has, when we talk about relationship, right? He has excellent relationship with somebody like Bhishma, who was maybe 2 or 3 generations older to him. He has good relationship with his teacher Dronacharya. He has good relationship with his contemporary Sri Krishna. He has good relationship with his wife Draupadi. In spite of all the odds that happen in their life, be it Draupadi Vastraharan, they were in. Now, just imagine, we don't connect the dots many times. All these brothers and their wife, they have spent 12 years in exile, right? It's not easy. You imagine you spend time with your family, and you are not probably responsible for that, but still staying together for these 12 long years is not easy. You can imagine, and then you will get the answer. But that's what the beauty of all these Indian history is all about. So it it has many indirect meanings to us if we have open mind. We call it as Vachan, Manan, and Chintan, right? So, sorry for some of the local words, but again, that's more important. Vachan will give you information. Manan will give you reading between the lines kind of things. And then Chintan is you derive, you have information, you have read between the lines, then what is your conclusion, right? So we have really, I mean, we are really fortunate to be here in India, that if you open your eyes and ear, you have lot many things to do. And it is not only about philosophy. It is all about the way we are developed our products, right? There are immense opportunities to build your career as well. There are so many things. I mean, you take an example of, again, Arjuna, when we talk about, they know they were asked to spend 1 year so that nobody should able to identify you.
Yeah.
So that is called as Anyatwas. Then that time they put all their bows that you mentioned, right? Gandhi and everything at one of the tree. So the question came to my mind: there must be some property in that tree which will not allow these weapons to corrode. Now, this is how the research can be initiated. There are many such incidences. If you can keep your eyes and ear open, you will still find lots of opportunity to doing business in a absolute word, if I have to express it.
Very nice.
But Arjuna, you mentioned that one more very
I think
interesting.
during this tenure itself, Arjuna have to take a role which
Yes.
was
So
very
this
critical.
1 year,
Yes.
he went into the role of Burhannala. What that role was all about, that he has to enact like he is neither a male or a female, and he was like teaching some dancing and musical things. Now the positive, again, as I mentioned, the 12 years in exile with the entire family, it's very difficult for somebody who is the most eligible person when it comes to fighting, right? Weapons and everything, to spend this 1 year as a kinner, like he's neither a male or not female, to portray that character for 1 year, and then teaching dancing and musical instruments. But somebody would have collapsed. If now take example that if you are alone going into exile in this kind of format, the toughness, the odds in the environment will kill you, literally kill you, either physically or mentally. But that's the power of unity, because they all were together. They could maintain their mental strength high. And there are many examples. I mean, after this 12 plus 1, 13 years, the first battle that Arjuna did was with all stalwarts of the then history. It was Bhishma, Drodacharya, entire Kauravas, Karna. He was alone, and he defeated all of them. After this 13 years of, he was not in touch with these practices. Now we have seen in cricket, right? If a batter is out of for some reason, I mean, he's ill, some injury, when he comes back after 6 months, then he doesn't have that form again. He takes some time to build that form after 6 months of gap. We're talking about 13 years of gap, and that too with the most challenging, difficult situation. And when somebody performs like this, I think we should think about what that person must have done to maintain his mental strength. And that's very important for whatever role that you are playing in your life, the mental strength.
Yeah.
That's why I mean, I can talk about Arjuna like
We know
anything,
that.
but in interest of time,
Yes, and I think I am personally interested to know that, but not in today's forum. But I think all of these are very intriguing, interesting aspects, to look at the ancient history. I have started looking at all of these now from the time, I have started meeting with you and hearing the thoughts from you. But I believe, the last point that you mentioned here is very strong, that the retention of the skill or the capability that you have at the core is something should not be bound with the boundaries of time, because if that is what is defining the capability, then it's not something that you have really thought of well. It is just something that you have maybe developed for yourself from a survival point of view. I think that again connects it back to our very first pointer, career versus the survival part of it, right? I think that is what Arjuna is indicating here with his entire journey of that 13 12 plus 1 years, right? Now we'll go to our audience, and looking at the time, we'll take some questions which can come inside the bucket of 10 to 15 minutes maximum, right? So we'll open the floor for everyone now. I hope the session so far was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure if I'm audible. Yeah.
Can you go again?
Is it picking up the voice?
A bit low.
A bit low? Okay, is it good now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So, thank you, Vaibhav, for your time today. It was a really valuable session. I looked at, all these Indian ancient texts and characters that we have, right? They had so much to teach, the whole world. In fact, India was in the past was a guiding light for the whole world, they say, and I think it's about time we reclaim that. And perhaps what I believe is lacking nowadays is India is not able to market these concepts at a high level, so that world can consume it and put it to use. What do you think is the reason? Because when I look at the ikigai, the Japanese concept, that was marketed really well, and perhaps the book itself really helped the world know the concept really well. But we also internally we have our own concepts that come about really strongly, like Ashtasiddhi, right? The superpowers that Hanuman had or has. So how do you see it? How we can market these concepts to the world, especially in the context of business, really metaphorically, how we can translate those and market those to the world, because you have been successfully trying to sell your products. Madhavsrushti produces, right? Those definitely have the quality, but then our concepts also have quality, we believe. But then, why is it not reaching the world, and what is it that is necessary? Really, what are those essential elements that you would think be necessary? Yeah.
Okay. The answers are manifold, Vinay. It's like, again, don't measure it on a time basis. So, once upon a time, you only mentioned, right? We were like, we used to teach the world. Now, last 50 years, we might not be having that position. But don't, measure the things in the time frame. You don't know. Next 100 years, we will again, hold that position again. So, what is more important is going back to our own history, find out what the best we can do. We have chosen one way. We have thousands of another ways that will you can work on, right? And if there is a group of maybe 100,000 people, like Swami Vivekananda used to say, give me 5 people who are having a good character and aligned to one goal, I can change the world. So it's all about picking up right things from our history. If we have 100, 1,000 such people, I think things can be done. But again, work on it. Intention will definitely give you result.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that question.
That really makes sense. I was introduced to Ashtasiddhi by Vaibhav himself, so
Yeah.
and I didn't know that earlier. But I think we should. I personally should start working towards making into some really consumable concept in terms of business, really. So yeah, thanks for that.
Sorry. Remove that cap. Spongy.
Better.
Second mic is inside.
What is that?
Okay.
Is it better?
Not much. I'm not sure. Speak again.
Stop.
Are you able to hear?
Yeah, you can start. I think.
Okay. So, firstly, thank you for sharing all the wisdom. It was really good and lots of takeaways. But one of the things I want to ask is, you mentioned about Arjuna having very good relation, and I believe you are also a practitioner of that, based on some of the names and actions that you mentioned. So, what sort of advice do you have for us in terms of us building and maintaining relations?
Very difficult to give a short answer to this, but if I have to cut it short, probably we can, in the subsequent sessions, I will talk about, it's not me, it's all about, again, you can learn from Arjun. There are many such characters in our history that will enlighten you, allow you to think, ponder on certain things, which you only will realize how to maintain those relations. But there are many such characters which will definitely influence you. Read between the lines, gather the facts, and then I think the answer lies there. The way, see, what is that relation between a husband and wife, that after such vastraharan they could, when they met for the first time, what could have been that conversation would be, right? How somebody is living with the brothers and wife together for 12 long years. So it's somewhere expectations. If I have to talk about it, it's all about expectations. So your differences start with when the expectations are not met. Okay, if the expectations are selfish, probably the relations are spoiled. If the expectations are selfless, even if the difference in the opinions or expectations, relations will be maintained. And that's where I mentioned about the relationship between Arjun and Bhishma. So actually speaking, they were in different parties in the war, right? But still, now you can imagine the two different extreme qualities. One is the respect, and one is as a opponent, right, in the war. So Arjuna could maintain these extreme two qualities, the coexistence of these qualities for one person. Today, if I am angry on you, only anger will persist and everything else will vanish. But Arjuna could maintain that coexistence of respect to Bhishma as well as I have to kill him. It is very difficult, and this is because he never had his selfish, I mean, both of them didn't have the selfish expectations from each other. The more you go towards selflessness, I think relations can be made better. So if you expect, I mean, to be a very direct answer, if you have a lot of expectations from your wife or otherwise, which are like making you happy, you as an individual, there are high chances that relation may get spoiled. So do take care of, I mean, that's where it's not only about husband and wife, any relation for that matter.
Yeah, my question was more from the corporate world itself.
Applies everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you. Don't know my voice comes out, but I want to bring the aspect of guru. Like, yes, we are in IT world. I am founder. You are also founder. Kapil, co-founder. Big people. What is the place of guru in modern age?
So just for the audio purpose, so the question from Vaibhav Patil is that what is the importance or the significance of guru in the modern age? In case the voice have not gone properly. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it is independent of modern era or any era for the matter. Guru always had and will have the equal importance, Vaibhav. This is what I believe. Now, maybe uh, the role of guru is what we discuss, right? In different roles, you have certain transformations to be achieved. Let's say from job to career that we discussed about. Now, if you have somebody uh, who is a guru who transform you from a job holder to a career holder, maybe a corporate guru for you, or we discussed about relationship. So from your selfish wish list to a selfless wish list is a guru. So if you have like I would take again an example of cricket. Sorry for that. I'm loving cricket, but you have gurus for bowling, you have gurus for batting, you have gurus for fielding also. Like so, if you can find one guru who can do everything for you, nothing like it. But otherwise, but to answer your question, the importance of guru is definitely there, and guru need not to have a manifestation as well. I mean, even Arjun can become your guru, right? If you can Vachan Manan Chintan of Arjun, and if he teaches you that, like Eklavya learnt lot many things from Dronacharya, not physically, So yes, importance of guru is there and it will remain. Whether that guru has to take a physical form or maybe some virtual that we call in software, that depends. Importance will definitely remain.
It's a very strong thought system that you're bringing,
Yeah.
and I believe in current times it is making more and more sense, because guru as a thought is now world proven, and it's being added to the business vocabulary as well. That in itself proves, that it's having that kind of importance. It was always important for us from a ancient point of view, because that is what we have been carrying as a root, but yet have got that global significance as well now. Any last question from anyone? Yes, please, Manju.
So, how come you maintain this thought process? Like people, when they see money, they see more Maya stuff, they just get attracted to it and they go crazy. Then how you maintain it? Because when you say these all stuffs, it feels I can't be that person. I'm not. I'll not be. I can't be selfless and like many things.
It's easy. Don't think that I cannot be selfless. It's actually easy. And I learned it, I think I spoke about Dr. Kalbag. It's about, because we are in one position. From this standpoint, I think this is difficult. The way I used to think, right? Living a premium area in Mumbai, from bungalow to a small hut. It's difficult for me today. But it was not difficult for him. He just did it like that. So that transformation, I mean, your question is clubbing most of the answers that I give. It's all about whether your transformation from a selfish needs to selfless needs, right? You need some guru to guide you properly. But I'm telling, why I'm telling you this, even if you're not behind money, which probably in Madhavsrushti we are not, but we are fetching good money. Because, and again, don't measure things in a fixed time frame. Do things with good intention will always result in good things. That is what I believe. And if you expect this to happen in 1 year, probably it may not. Don't get frustrated. That's why I give you an example of Yudhishthir. 12 years plus 1 year. And he was not sure what will happen after that. But he maintained his good thought process, quality, right? That resulted in good things.
Very nice.
Don't complain about the odds, which Arjun never. I mean, I don't like to talk about Karna on that, but since you asked it, Karna always he's portrayed in a way that he is always complaining about his difficulties. That I was not, after birth, I didn't have somebody to take care of me, right? I was denied of the education, etc., etc. When Arjuna hit me, the last, my my rath was not in a proper position.
Correct.
Actually, he could have fought, right? I mean, there are examples in Parshuram and Dronacharya war. Parshuram was standing on the ground and fighting with somebody who is on the rath. So practically speaking, Karna has an option, but he choose to give excuses. Don't do that in life.
Nothing
With
very.
the mindset.
Yeah.
Very nice. I think, Vaibhav, there are so many characters which are actually relatable in today's time, but we will close it for today. And I
Sure.
think we will keep the forum open for the further things. But Vaibhav, before we close, I was thinking in the morning that what I should be giving you today, as an individual, because every time I have been taking things from you. So I realized 2 weeks back, from my in-laws' place from Punjab, from Patiala, ghee came, which is home prepared. So I asked my wife to pack his box. She was packing a bigger one, but then I thought, let me carry the smaller one for you. So I would like to give it to you, Vaibhav, as a token of
Thank you so
gratitude from my
much.
side.
Thank you so much.